What does the delightful animated movie Zootopia and the belief that anyone can be anything have to do with French history? Come on, I'll show you. So the Hundred Years' War is not going great for the French. They're holding on to the south of the country. But if they lose the city of Orléans, the war is pretty much over. Enter a young peasant girl named Joan. She claims she's having divinely inspired visions, that she has been sent to liberate France from the English. Eventually, she works herself up to getting an audience with the Prince of France. And he says, listen, little girl, if you want to help, why not? France has been getting its ass kicked by the English for decades now. The sitting king is crazy, and he just named the English king the heir to the French throne. We need all the morale we can get. And who's better for morale than enthusiastic French peasant girls? So he sends her to the Battle of Orléans. But let's get this straight. Her job was not to be a soldier. She was supposed to be a symbol, a rallying cry, something to throw your esprit de corps behind. Remember what we're fighting for. If she hasn't given up hope, how can we? Sort of thing. But Joan, for her part, said, get fucked. I was given a mission to do something. You know what doesn't do anything? Posters. And that's what you want me to be. And so as Joan is supposed to be going around giving the soldiers pep talks and inspiring them, she ends up joining the fighting. And she always seems to find the heaviest fighting to throw herself into. So instead of being there to inspire the men, it looks like Joan is there to fight, which in turn inspires the men. And she's a lead from the front leader. She's putting herself in the heat of battle. And she receives several wounds for her troubles. She's cut once and hit in the shoulder with an arrow. Now, when I was younger and didn't understand bacteria and infection, I would hear about these minor wounds and think to myself, no big deal. But especially prior to around World War I, every wound is a big deal. A shoulder wound can get infected so easily, and if it does, being on the core of your body, you are in big trouble. So the idea of something being just a scratch is counterintuitive because scratches are terrifying. But not for Joan, because she rallies, which inspires the men even more. And wouldn't you know, the French end up winning, and in no small part thanks to Joan. Now I get that a lot of times in history we are searching for stories, and we love nothing more than to romanticize events, and essentialize them into very simple stories. Because after all, the truth should never stand in the way of a good story. But from everything I can gather, this one is pretty on the nose. The French were kind of in dire straits, and they were inspired by this young girl's bravery, to the point of turning the tide of a decisive battle. They start calling her the Maiden of Orléans, and she and the rest of the French army are going to continue to pursue the English, pushing them further north. The French are able to push the English pretty much off the continent and secure a really important city, Reims. Now the city of Reims, if you're from the south, is vitally important because it is the location that every French monarch has been anointed king of France. Charles VII has needed that city if he is going to claim the throne. And now, thanks to Joan, he can. Rarely in history has the fate of a monarch rested so heavily on the shoulders of a common person. And for her part, Joan responded. For Charles's part, Joan's mission had been accomplished. She had done what she came to do. But Joan had other plans. God did not tell her to secure the throne of France for Charles VII. He told her to kick the English out of France. And that wasn't done yet. But now all of a sudden, this little girl who was so instrumental in securing the throne has become kind of a nuisance. And now Charles VII has to figure out how to handle this new celebrity that he wants nothing more than to rid himself of. So what do you think's going to happen to old Joan? Find out next time.